It's that damn Sigvald. He's so hot right now. Sigvald. Welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2, and I want to apologize to you guys because I just realized it's been a very long time since the last time I played the Warriors of Chaos, but it's not without good reason. I've been doing some thinking, and honestly, I feel like Chaos right now in its current iteration is just a little bit vanilla, right? That I feel like they're kind of lacking a little bit of something something. And you know what it is? I think we all do. The marks of Chaos and the units that are specific to each of the 4 ruinous powers. Now, of course, we've got a little bit of flavor here. We've got the Mirror Guard and Sigvald the Scion of Slaanesh. They add some nice flavor to it all. I like seeing them go to work. They are beautiful representations of the god of pleasure. But at the end of the day, Chaos needs some work and they need some loving, like much of the old world races do. So I haven't played them that much, not just because of their unit roster, but kind of because of their playstyle. I typically like to have at least a little bit, a semblance of skirmishing in my army builds, and while Chaos does have actually a very good skirmish unit in the Marauder Horsemen, at the end of the day, I like to have a little bit more range and a little bit more versatility. And Chaos is not a one-trick pony by any means, but they're very rush-centric, and while I do like rush builds, I feel like they lack a little bit of something in terms of variety in their gameplay. So that's why I don't play them a massive amount, but I'll be trying to work in some more games soon too, because I've been using Archaon, using that Slayer of Kings, and you can do some serious work with that, and it's a lot of fun to see heroes and lords and monsters just die, just get ripped apart by the Slayer of Kings in melee, by Archaon. But this is a battle that I just played today, actually, on Skjold. Very cool looking map. And we're going to be playing Chaos versus the Dark Elves. It's an interesting one for sure. There are a lot of ways this battle can go. A lot of ways that both factions can kind of match up in the metagame and kind of out-scheme the other. So Chaos, for their part, a lot of the time they're going to be going heavy metal. They're going to be going very rush-centric, but with Marauder Horsemen on the flanks. And these guys are just a steal at 500 gold. We have talked about them before. What they bring to the table at their price point is pretty ludicrous. They're never going to just win a battle outright for you, generally speaking, but what they are going to do is provide the mobility and the speed and the harassing potential that can kind of force your opponent into hasty engagements, and then the rest of the Chaos army is very good for punishing that kind of hasty behavior. They can be relatively fast, kind of surprisingly so, in terms of the overall army composition when you're talking about stuff like Poison Warhounds and Chaos Knights rocking in tandem. And obviously Chaos has a ton of damage output. They are one of the better factions in Total War Warhammer multiplayer right now. And that is, of course, true for the Dark Elves as well. Harganeth Executioners. This is certainly one way the Dark Elves can deal with a Chaos Rush build, or Chaos Infantry in general. Harganeth Executioners are going to rip stuff up. Armor-piercing bonus versus infantry. They're pretty scary. We know Witch Elves. They were one of those units that I actually considered putting as the top pick for my Dark Elves in the best units for every faction video, because they are so versatile. And that Madness of Cain, being able to make a unit rampage, can straight up win you a game. It is one of the best abilities in Total War Warhammer 2, without question. You get an important Lord, or an important Cav unit, or an important monster tied down by Madness of Cain, and they rampage, and at an inopportune time, they're gonna die, and you might just win the battle outright because of it. Now, you don't see her very often in this matchup. Certainly on a Cauldron of Blood, she can do a ton of work, but on foot, she's actually very scary. Look at those stats. Bonus versus infantry, almost 500 weapon strength and AP. 78 melee attack, not very tanky at all, but with that murder party that she can drop down, good way to buff the main line, and she will shred Chaos Infantry if she's supported. So relatively cost efficient on foot as well. So an interesting pick there, certainly not a bad one in this matchup. Blackguard of Nagaron, some Dread Spears out on the flanks, and there is actually one more very interesting pick. Up here, Shades. Now, you don't see these guys every day because a lot of the time they are a risky investment. Some of them, the Greatsword variant, are 1,200 gold. I think regular Shades are 900. That's pretty expensive for a skirmish unit, right? But you do get a lot of versatility out of them, right? You're getting stock, you're getting 34 missile damage with a big AP component, and you're getting that positioning that you can kind of use to your fullest potential and do stuff like this. Vanguard out on a flank, and then fire from above, and then protect with stuff like these. Right here, Doomfire Warlocks in the back. I think these are the Slaanesh's Harvesters, which of course, since their inception in the Queen and the Crone, have been kind of an auto-include in a lot of Dark Elf builds. One of the best regiments of renown for the Dark Elves. So we also have a Sorceress, the Lord of Shadow. It looks like Enfeebling Foe and Melkoth Mystifying Miasma. to harass cavalry, and we'll be zoning her out with these Marauder Horsemen. And for my build, I guess I haven't gone over my entire build yet, we also have this Chaos Sorcerer of Metal, Final Transmutation, and Plague of Rust, Searing Doom, Marauders in the front. We do have one unit of Chosen with great weapons, which typically, if they get the charge bonus off against Hargoneth Executioners, they're going to do a ton of damage. Really, though, what you'd like to do is avoid the charge of the Hargoneth Executioners and kind of avoid them while Murderous Prowess is up. And then, when Chosen get into them, they will rip stuff up. So in a 1v1 fight, Hargoneth Executioners are better in an infantry fight because they have that bonus versus infantry, but Chosen are a better damage dealer against all threats. They're good against everything. Cav, monsters, all that stuff. Executioners are a little bit more niche and designed for killing infantry. So those are the builds. Let's get into the battle itself. So Sigvald the Magnificent, you haven't seen him a massive amount in the current multiplayer meta, but he does offer a decent amount at his price point. Against some factions, like the Vampire Coast, he can actually be a very good surprise pick because he has that auric armor, the regen. Remember, Chaos does not have a lot of ways to regen health on their lords and heroes. So if one of them decides to start taking a lot of damage, regen, of course, is going to be very nice. And he has a low profile. He's not mounted up. He's not Kolek kind of towering over the battlefield. So Kolek might get shot up by a lot of factions, by that armor piercing, dark shards and shades and that kind of stuff. Certainly against Vampire Coast, get destroyed by a lot of handgunners. And but Sigvald, though, can really go into that kind of matchup and avoid a lot of that ranged firepower, get in unscathed, and he will do a lot of damage in melee. He has 520 weapon strength, which is the same as a Black Dragon or Zombie Dragon. So he does do quite a lot of damage in sustained melee combat, just doesn't have the mobility that maybe we would like to see. He does have 40 speed. I think on tabletop he had like 7 movement speed, so that doesn't translate perfectly. There are a couple of units from the tabletop that I feel like the movement speed wasn't translated very perfectly, and I'd like to see Sigvald maybe more around like 50, 55. I think that would make him a more interesting pick for sure. But right now we're going to have the Marauders go into the Dread Spears, and it'll be a relatively even fight. Out on this flank, Marauder Horsemen harassing down Dread Spears out on that side, but they do have that shield block chance, and he has a lot of stuff hidden here, and he is doing a very good job, my opponent is, of, we're going to get rid of these trees because they're going to annoy me, of kind of making a bastion here for the shades and putting them right at the edge of the trees so they can fire out, but I can't really fire in without hitting a lot of the trees and the stuff that they're positioned behind. So the Hargoneth Executioners are going to go into melee. We do have the Chaos Warriors with great weapons who trade relatively upwards into them if they can get their charge bonus off. Typically, you want to maybe throw in some Marauders first to get rid of their charge bonus, and then throw these guys in, and they'll trade really nicely. But it's one of those things where not always going to get that opportunity, and so it's not the worst idea. They'll do a lot of damage, and this is absolutely one of the best ways to turn a melee fight in your favor. Plague of Rust extended. Look at that, minus 60 armor down to 40 armor, get the full charge bonus off. Beautiful, right into the center, and already off the charge. We're going to trade really well. Check this out. Chaos Knights down the hill, roaring into the flank, and smishing, absolutely smishing those Hargoneth Executioners. And that is absolutely brutal stuff. At the start of this battle, they are going to plummet, just plummet. Their HP disappears in a torrent of blood, and this unit is basically going to break right off of the bat. So, I mean, that's a dream engagement for Chaos right at the start of the battle. Plague of Rust and a Chaos Knight charge can do a lot of work for you. Dread Spears holding out for now, but the Mirror Guard and Sigvald about to charge in there, and this is going to be pretty mean too. Sigvald going to go to work with Sliver Slash and carve a path of destruction into the flank of those Dread Spears. Hargoneth Executioners already gone. I mean, they're really not going to be able to come back. Chaos Knights up to 34 kills. Chaos Warriors up to 21. Murder Party getting dropped there. That might have been a misclick. But here, things are a little bit scarier. Now, he's done a really good job of creating a bastion over on this side, and he's kind of pinned my Chaos Warriors in place while the Black Guard slaughter them from the flank, and Hellebron is in there too, and she's really going to enjoy that fight. Heroic Killing Blow is popped, and I think some heads are about to go flying on the Chaos Warrior line, and that is indeed true. A lot of blood spattering onto the snow, and they're going to be able to smash that engagement over there. Hargoneth Executioners have pushed through the Marauders, and a Pendulum going to do a lot of damage to my Chaos Marauders and a little bit of damage to the Mirror Guard, but the Chaos Knights are free. Definitely can think about getting a charge in here, but I don't want to stick around in that fight for too long, because at the end of the day, Executioners do have very high AP values. Charge in, use that 80 charge bonus, and then pull out and go for the rear of these Dread Spears. So that's what we're going to do, and this is going to shatter this unit as well. So Chaos Knights have had a dream start Cannot wait to see Chaos Knights with the Mark of Khorne or the Mark of Nurgle. It will be a glorious sight to behold. But now we have a tale of two battles kind of presenting itself here. It's going to get a little bit weird. We do have a final transmutation going down on a big blob, and I caught Crone Hellebron, and I caught the Sorceress Lord of Shadow, and the Blackguard of Nagaron. So that's 3 very high-value targets that you really like to catch there. Extended effect duration as well. That was Overcast. It is going to do a lot of damage to those 3 units. But over here, these Executioners are going to get absolutely smashed. I mean, they have no real way to escape from this kind of fight. Chaos Knights are free to charge in with impunity, and we can get a really nice round off. But over here is where the Dark Elves can put a lot of pressure on my army. Shades are moving up now. Halberds do not have a missile block chance, and the Slaanesh Harvesters can kind of get in and push back all of my Marauder Horsemen. Now, the Sorceress might not want to fight a Chaos Sorcerer hero. Probably beat her rather, in melee. Nice rear charge from the Slaanesh Harvesters, and over on this side, Executioners. Not going to be long for this world. This is a beautiful engagement from Chaos, and they're going to plummet. So, the Executioners did not generate a massive amount of value. They did kill some Marauders, and I mean, 89 kills isn't bad at the end of the day, but they didn't kill any really important targets. Most of my elite infantry that was out on this flank is in really good shape. Chosen, 21 kills and in really good HP, but my left flank, the Dark Elves really put a number down and slaughtered a lot of my stuff. I mean, Halberds, Chaos Warriors, all this stuff really got beat up by these Shades. 15 kills and 17 right now. Dreadspear is pushing them back, and I lost my entire left flank here. So it really was a tale of 2 battles. While I won the middle and the right flank, he won on his right flank and really hurt me. So Bellator is still even after all that. You would think after killing those Executioners I'd be in really good shape, but not so much because I've ceded the high ground, and that's not ideal. We've seen that in Revenge of the Sith. It's doesn't work out too well for Anakin. It might not work out too well for me now. We do have to deal with Crone Hellebron, who's down to half HP. Yeah, that final transmutation did so much damage to her. He has the skirmish power, the range power, all that AP is going to be a problem, and the Witch Elves can make my Chosen or my Mirror Guard rampage and maybe turn their flank, and that would allow the Shades to fire in and really do a lot of damage. So we do have the Chaos Warriors that have come back now. Sigvald up to 21 kills, looking gorgeous as ever. It's that damn Sigvald. He's so hot right now. And he's going to charge forward with that Auric armor, supported by the Halberds and the Chaos Warriors with great weapons. And we're going to get a very important engagement here. This is going to be where the battle is decided. Mirror Guard into the front right now. Blackguard charging in as well. But take a look at this. Very nice move by my opponent. He is going to kind of hit the flank of my Mirror Guard, but the rest of the Witch Elves going right for the most important unit left on the field, the Chosen with great weapons, who are at full HP. There is no way the Dark Elves are going to be able to win this game if they don't skirmish them down. In melee, these guys could pretty much solo the rest of his army, Witch Elves and Blackguard included. I mean, they're going to slaughter stuff. But if he's able to make them rampage, then the Shades can get their fire in, and 2-3 volleys of those into unshielded Chosen. Even though they have 120 armor, all that AP is going to scythe right through it, and they will start dropping like flies. So I have to be very careful, and I have to push up right now with my Chaos Knights and get into them to silence them for good. Otherwise, I might lose my Chosen pretty much right off the bat. And the good thing is I still have extra mobility out on this flank, so I can get around the side, maybe get into the Shades that way, and use Sigvald to kind of break through those Dread Spears pretty quick. But yeah, the Witch Elves, half the unit got into my Chosen, and they are going to rampage right now, and look at their HP just drop. That was 1 volley from each of those units, down to half HP from almost full. Shades will wreck you if you let them, and I didn't even let them there. That was just good play from my opponent. Like, that was just really smart play, and he's going to get another good one here. Enfeebling Foe going down. Slaanesh Harvester is going to get a charge in. Normally, Light Cav not really going to enjoy this kind of fight, but when they have 17 melee attack and 8 melee defense, Chaos Knight's not going to do that well, and they're also charging uphill. Remember that he also has Word of Pain, so we can lower the melee attack of these guys by 44 once Enfeebling Foe wears off. So these Chaos Knights are going to have a very hard time hitting these kind of scary looking pale dudes with the scary masks. And they are going to drop that debuff now. Minus 44 melee attack, down to 0 on my Chaos Knights. I'm not going to be hitting anything. There is a base chance to hit that you'll always get, but I mean, these Slaanesh Harvesters with their 40% physical resist are going to be able to tank out for a very long time that normally Chaos Knights would absolutely run over them. So that is what those guys offer you. They're a light cav unit for sure, but they offer a whole hell of a lot more than that. Sigvald is having the time of his life right now. He's in the middle of a bunch of Dread Spears, and he's just going to chop stuff up. Sliver Slash will glisten in the sunlight, and Dread Spears will fall. The Witch Elves routing from the field right now, and decapitations. Blood, sweat, tears going everywhere. Murder Party in the center. Marauder Horsemen up the center, and we're going to get them into melee. Now, Slay Shades should be able to defend themselves pretty easily against Marauder Horsemen, but once these guys charge in as well, we have compromised the back line, and with these guys tied down, if we can quickly get one more follow-up charge, we might be able to take this game right here. Hellebron is getting kind of beaten up right now, but she's up to 88 kills. I mean, she's got a ton of high-value kills against Chaos Warriors. Another Penumbral Pendulum going down, kind of hitting the flank of my unit, but not doing a mass amount of damage. Blackguard holding at 91 kills. Cavalry is routing. Chaos Knights look like they might be able to edge that one out, enough that their melee attack has returned, but it was a brutal, torrid affair right there. Poison Warhounds into the target that I want. Sigvald also where I want him to be, and now the balance bar starting to shift, and looks like the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, or Hero rather, taking down Hellebron. And with that, it should pretty much seal the deal now that the Shades are being completely surrounded and cut to pieces. So Sigvald, up to 30 kills. Again, he's not going to generate a ton of killing for you, but what he can do is just survive, hold out, do a decent amount of support work, do a decent amount of damage, and can definitely isolate individual heroes and lords and do some nice work that way. But at the end of the day, by far, not one of the most DPS-centric lords on the Warriors of Chaos roster. That would, of course, go to Sartorial, Archaon, and Kolek. And if you're talking about competitive multiplayer, and Kolek and Sartorial pretty much going to be the go-to in most of your matchups. Sartorial is a god. One of the best lords in the game. Typically, you're not going to be seeing Sigvald over him, missile resist, and all the things that he offers you. But you know what? Sigvald is beautiful. He's a gorgeous man. And Sartorial's kind of an ugly douche. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Sigvald 9 times out of 10. Just because he's awesome looking. And just because he's, I mean, he's a Ken doll in Chaos form. A black heart, but a beautiful body. So, what we're going to do here, take a look at the stats. Chosen, 48 kills. Chaos Knights had the time of their lives in this battle. 113, 96 on my Chaos Warriors of weapons. One thing you probably noticed in that melee fight, and one of the things that really turned it, like, almost instantly, was that Overcast Plague of Rust. Lowering Harganeth Executioner's armor by 60 for a long time. I mean, it didn't even need to be for a long time. The Chaos Knights charged in, and the unit literally melted. They disappeared. Beautiful. I feel like it's a kind of underutilized spell, at least in, like, mid-tier gameplay. Like, people who are decent at the game, but aren't, like, maybe working towards the top tier. I have seen plenty of very good players use it to its fullest potential, of course. But if you're thinking about, like, maybe jumping into competitive multiplayer, but you don't have a lot of experience, Plague of Rust and those debuffs, single target, AoE, those kind of things, they're just an incredibly useful part of your toolkit for so many factions. And they kind of get overlooked for the big fancy spells like Penumbral Pendulum, which will carve through an entirely infantry unit if you hit it at the right angle. But don't overlook that kind of stuff. You saw the kind of impact it made in about 5 seconds when those Chaos Knights charged downhill, killed a 1200 gold unit in less than 10 seconds, and they only got 7 kills. So that is one of the best ways to generate value out of your Winds of Magic. Got a big final transmutation. They hit the Sorceress and Hellebron and the Blackguard, which probably might have turned it even more in my favor than the Chaos Knight charge did. Not the most interesting spell in the game, honestly, but sometimes, I mean, if you're going to bring Lore of Metal, it is the best spell, no question about it. Hellebron, I mean, she's awesome. She got nerfed like crazy when we're talking about her special ability, her special weapon. The Cursed Blade was ungodly OP, as we all know by now, and it really was kind of turning her into a Blender Lord of ungodly proportions when the Queen of the Crone first dropped. Thankfully, that got patched relatively soon afterwards. Since then, Hellebron has been a niche pick at best. Not a truly top-tier lord by any stretch of the imagination. Malekith and Marathi are two amazing lord choices. It's kind of hard to skip them, honestly. Or you could go very, very wide and go for like a stripped-down sorceress who only costs like 600, 700 gold. That's also an option. But you don't see Hellebron too much. I was very happy to see her here, and she did well. She definitely did well. The final transmutation just really put her in the dirt, though, where she could have done a lot more, I think, had she not been hit by that. And the Blackguard Shades were used very well. I like how he used the Doomfire Warlocks too, but those initial engagements with the Executioners really, I think, kind of sealed his fate early on in that battle. So, hope you guys enjoyed that game. I will be away for a couple days, but I will be coming back very soon, and there will be lots of more content coming, both for the Warhammer series and for some of the historical Total War games coming up. Three Kingdoms, of course, will be a staple of the channel, and we'll have lots to talk about very soon. So, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Indie Pride, signing out for now. Have a good one, guys.